Steve, you never looked better. Oh, wait, that's Tim. Hey, Tim, how you doing?
It's handsome Tim to you.
Oh, sorry, handsome Tim. The man, the myth, the legend. Tim and I just got done doing a video on his channel, and I asked him if he wanted to come over here and do an afterword because I felt bad because we came up with the concept after we had him on the show.
Fine.
And you might not know this about handsome Tim. He loves sword and sorcery. And he also is a gamer. So I thought it'd be fun if we got together while Steve was away on vacation and talked about gaming and sword and sorcery books and their influences and stuff. So without further ado, that's Tim. I'm Paul.
And this is Check Your Shelf. Roll initiative. I can't remember if we talked about this when you guys had me on your channel for the Appendix N video, but I wanted to ask, like, what was your start with like Dungeons and Dragons and role playing games? Like, when did that open up for you as a hobby?
You mean a lifestyle?
Right. Yeah, we'll go with that.
Let's see. I remember it vividly. It was my eighth. I just started 8th grade, and two friends of mine were talking about this game, and I was like, "What are you guys talking about?" Because it sounded really cool, and they're like, "We're playing Dungeons and Dragons." I'm like, "Well, what's that?" So my buddy Richard, who unfortunately is no longer with us, he was telling me about it, and I'm like, "Dude, I want to play." And he's like, "Okay," because I'll make it. And back in the day, what we did was like, the DM would make you a character. If it was your first time, he'd give it to you, and as you were going along in the game, he would explain, "Well, now you have to do this. This is what you got to roll to do this," that kind of thing. And that's to this day how I teach people. I don't like to just sit there and listen to words. So anyway, he asked me what kind of character. I'm like, "Well, what kind of characters are there?" So, and I understood what a character was because, I was a comic book reader before I could even read. So I understood the concept. And he tells me, and I'm like, "Ooh, I want to be a magic user." He goes, "No, you don't." I'm like, "Yeah, I do," because the idea of throwing spells just sounded cool as hell to me. So he goes home, he makes this wizard. We're playing this game, and my very first encounter, I died. I died fighting because I aggravated a pixie. And I had like 2 hit points, and he stabbed me dead. Because your armor class is trash when you're a wizard.
Oh yeah.
And so for many a year, I was playing fighters and thieves until, and my advice for people always who want to play wizards is like, hang back.
Stay at the back of the party, for the love of God.
Till you get to about 5th, 6th level, and then all those guys that are going to make fun of you now are going to like beg you to save them. So, but yeah, that's probably 1981, and I've been playing ever since.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the funny thing about the wizard class is like, they've beefed it up like over the several editions. Like it's still like, as far as hit points are concerned, it's still like, hit points in armor class. It's still right there with rogue is like the weakest of the classes in like modern D&D. But they've gotten to the point where it's like, if you get stabbed, you'll probably be all right. And it's like, no. You guys missed the point. When this game first started out, Gary Gygax hated wizards and was like, "You know what? I'm going to discourage my players from playing as magic users. So what? If you get stabbed as a wizard, you're just going to die."
Yep, pretty much. The wizards are supposed to be bad guys, not heroes. Why would you want to play a wizard or an elf when you can be Conan?
Exactly. You could be Conan. You could be the Grey Mouser. You could be one of these cool swordsmen that's, sweeping damsels off their feet and smashing bad guys' jaws. Yeah.
Yep. That's why I always modified, even back then, I always modified the rules for magic users because they're just fodder, or I would let my players start. I would make like 5th level adventures starting out, so that wizards would at least have a fighting chance, because then we hit about second edition came out, and that was our jam. We played second edition for till like the early 2000s.
Nice.
And then I kind of got out of D&D and played a bunch of other stuff, and then got roped into 5e, which was so hard for me to get into because I kept equating it to the older versions.
Oh yeah,
until I
can't do that.
And once I realized it was a whole different game, I'm like, all right, I'm new here. What do I do? And when I'm like, I love playing paladins. I love playing paladins. And when I found out that I like in 5th edition, you mean I can play a not lawful good orc paladin? Sign me up.
There we go.
Yeah.
That is the fun thing about 5th edition and like a lot of the newer RPGs is that you can get super crazy with the character combinations and stuff. But like, to be fair, if you go back to like, BX edition and, the older stuff, if you have a really cool GM who's like coaching you through stuff, he can make whatever character he wants for you, and you can bend the game to your will essentially.
Oh, we did.
So the coolest thing about D&D and other fantasy role-playing games is that they up front tell you it's like the sky's the limit. Just use your imagination. The rules are very mostly just suggestions.
It literally says that in the BX versions. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've loved that. I've loved that about D&D since I first started playing it. Yeah. And I started with the first time I played D&D was playing a 3.5 edition game. And that weirdly enough, 5th edition had been out for a few years. And I had never played it before. It was like one of those things was always on the periphery. I'd never played it. I was always interested in it, but never got around to it. Never had friends that were into it. And then I made friends with this one guy at my church of all places, who at one point goes, "Dude, my friends and I just got back into playing Dungeons and Dragons. Would you want to join a campaign?" I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely, sure." And so he tries walking me through 3.5, and to this day, I don't even remember how the ins and outs of 3.5 worked. Like, if you threw me into a 3.5 game, I'd be totally lost. But he started me out with that, and I was just like going where the DM led me. And then after a couple games, that inevitably that campaign just kind of fizzled out because it's one of those campaigns where you guys get a couple games in, and then everyone's like, "Oh, I can't make it because real life stuff's getting in the way," and so we never met again for that game. But I was interested enough to pick up 5th edition, and I was like, okay, I understand this one a little bit more. Yeah. And so for the longest time, my friends and I just played 5th edition. And then I noticed something about 5th edition that I hear a lot of people complain about, where it's like the stronger your characters get, the higher level they get, the more abilities they learn. It's just too much.
Yeah.
Like, when your characters, even as early as like level 5 or 6 in 5th edition, they're just superhumans. They can uproot freaking islands and toss mountains at each other. It gets ridiculous. And when I was DMing these games, I would realize that my players would get so burnt out on these characters because they'd get to like level 4 and 5, and they're like, okay, so I could just walk up to the enemy and hit him with my sword, or because I have this, subclass that I got a couple levels back, and I can, infuse this weapon with a certain power that I gained from learning this spell, and I have these material components that you told me can have this effect if I use them in this specific way. If I cast this spell at this level, yada, 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 it just gets to be way too much. And I was like, well, there's got to be a simpler way. And so I should have known that if you just go back to like older D&D editions, it's just so streamlined and so it's crunchier in a way because you have what they call THACO, all the The weird.
Everybody hates Thaco, man, and I got dyscalculia, and I can figure it out with the drop, like that. So I don't know what everybody's problem was with
You're
it.
a better man than me. I can't stand Thaco. But then after figuring out that okay, I can just play an older edition, I picked up Old School Essentials, which everyone kept telling me it's basically just basic D&D under a different name. And so I picked that up and I was like, well, okay, this uses the same kind of like attack rolls and ability score rolls as 5th edition, but it has all the simplicity from the BX edition. Yeah, there we go. Old School Essentials. And so from then on, that's all I played. And to be fair, I don't think I've ever gone back to a 5th edition game.
If you strip out, boil it down, you can use it for the basic rules, the ideas of skills and stuff, or proficiencies. You boil all that down, it's a good game. It's all the superheroism that they put in it.
Yeah.
That just and having, I ran one short campaign because our group needed a new DM, and I'm like, fine, I'll do it. How hard can it be? And I noticed how one-sided it was.
Yeah.
So I'm like, no, man, this isn't gonna. So I would ramp it up, and even like putting my monsters on steroids.
Yeah.
These characters would still waltz through them. So I gave up on that. But I like the basic concept, and you can apply it to almost any genre you want, because the internet is full of, you're like, you know what I want to make? I want to make a cyborg Pegasus. So you start working on it, and you just type in cyborg Pegasus 5e. Boom, somebody's already done it.
Yep.
So you can do anything you want with it. It's one of it's what I do for some of the stuff that we play. It's just like, we have a Star Wars kind of system that we set up using the base from it.
It's so like you said, it's so one-sided to the point where it's like when your characters reach a certain level, it's like you're not going to be fighting goblins or orcs anymore. Goblins and orcs are like, they're beneath you at this point. They're ants beneath your player's boots at that point.
Yep.
I was gonna say, if you're not like throwing like planar gods at them, it's not even a challenge.
No. Do you watch like Dungeon Craft?
I do not. I do not.
Okay. I early on, because I used to have a role playing game channel. I haven't done anything on it in over a year because I got caught up doing BookTube.
Mm-hmm.
But he was one of the first, dungeon, D&D YouTube channels that I ever saw, and he had this great point. He holds up like the 5th edition cover where these characters are fighting this dragon, and he's like, "See this? These are superheroes." And then he picks up like original D&D where they're like, dude, get the rot grubs just digging through the guy's arm. Like, this is the guy fighting for his life.
That's what's going to happen to you.
Yeah, that's the difference.
I do love that about like low level D&D, especially in like the earlier editions and stuff, how it's just so brutal and unforgiving so that it makes the players really think about going on this adventure, and it makes you kind of strategize. It's like, you're not just going to waltz into a group of enemies and, we're going to slash these guys apart, move on to the next room, get the treasure. No. You walk into an army of goblins at level 1. You got to have things planned out, because yes, they're goblins, but this is, you're at only level 1. Those hit points are going to get drained pretty quick. And so even if you guys survive, what's going to happen when you meet the next monster around the next corner? So it's and I don't know. Have you ever watched Bardic Broadcasts?
Mm-mm.
So he hasn't done anything in forever. I hear that he still like streams video games every now and again on Twitch, but he used to have a YouTube channel that he would upload kind of sporadically, where he would just do unboxings of like different fantasy themed games and figures and stuff. And he did a video about an art book by Larry Elmore. And he was saying how his very favorite piece of Larry Elmore art was I think it was called Dragon Slayers and Proud of It, which is a piece that he did for like the second edition player's handbook, where it's like a group of adventurers all gathered around like this little tiny like baby dragon that's all like strung up, and they're all like posing with it for a portrait. And he's saying like that is the best representation of Dungeons and Dragons, because that's an actual adventure that you'll go on. It's not like, you guys aren't going to survive fighting planar gods and, archdemons until you get really further in the game. When you start out playing D&D, defeating this tiny little dragon that, it's like the size of a house cat, that's going to be a major accomplishment for you guys.
Yeah.
I do love that, like, kind of low level, like skulking around fighting for your life kind of D&D adventure. And that's why I love the older editions so much, because that's what it is for so much of the gameplay. I don't know I've never played it myself, but I really want to get into it. I don't know if you ever checked out a game called Morkborg.
I have seen that insane player's hand, the game, because one of my younger gamers buys literally everything, and he brought over the Morkborg base book and some of the supplementals. It is insane looking. It looks like a lot of fun, but it is insane looking.
It does. And like I read like the free PDF that they have on their website, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is the most like brutal, unforgiving version of D&D ever, and I so want to play it so bad.
It's on my list. It's just one of those too many games, not enough time, kind of situations.
Right. Yeah.
So do you play anything other than D&D, or have you played anything other than D&D?
Like I said, we use like the rule set for Old School Essentials for a while. I managed to get in like one, maybe two adventures into Dungeon Crawl Classics.
Oh yeah.
It's, still basically D&D except with the rules stripped down. But that's really all I've played. I've wanted so bad to like check out stuff like, Call of Cthulhu and the different Star Wars RPGs and stuff, but I just never had the chance.
Yeah, the original Star Wars game is perfect. The one they remade isn't bad, but like in classic like Lucas fashion, you have to buy all this other stuff to play it. Whereas when the originals was just D6s, you could like Yahtzee, you could figure out what your score was.
Okay.
It was a blast. I never got to play it when it came out because I didn't have any friends that wanted to play that. We always played D&D, but we've played it, as elder statesmen, and just love it.
Nice. And the thing is, there's so many different RPGs and so many different like genres that people have been like, okay, we could turn that into a TTRPG. I know for a fact that my buddy Virgil from Literally Books, I don't know if you watch his stuff. The dude owns like this massive RPG collection, and he was sending me pictures that he got of a game he got a couple days ago. I can't remember the name of it. I want to say it's like Public Access Heroes, where the whole premise is that you play the hosts of a public access TV show that have been like sucked into another dimension or something.
Yeah, there's all kinds of different archetypes. Like you would, there's the horror host, there's the fitness person, there's the the religious programming, all these different kind of category classes you can play. Yeah, it looks great.
He also showed me Troika, which is like he got me interested in it by saying that it uses basically the same combat mechanics as the fighting fantasy game books, which I love. Yeah. And so I checked it out. That also has like a free PDF that you could download off of one of their sites. And it's so goofy. There's so many different like character classes and different like combinations of characters you can make. But yeah, the rule set is like very streamlined. You just need 2 D6s, and that's all you'll ever need for the rest of the game. Yeah. It's very like weird science fantasy, like very like Jack Vance, Gene Wolfe kind of fantasy settings. Yeah. So I
haven't been able to play it, but yeah, I'm a little bit familiar. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's just so many. It's like you just said, there's so many games, you're never going to have a chance to play all of them. unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm just looking at some of my different rule books. Like this one here. This is another game that I wish I had the chance to play. Space 1889, where basically they took
Oh
all the stuff
gosh.
that like Edgar Rice Burroughs ever wrote and turned it into a spacefaring. You can go to Mars, Venus, and it's got all the tropes you can think of in it. Unfortunately, it didn't go anywhere and didn't last very
No.
long. What
That's
else do I
awesome.
got?
That dude had a ray gun and a pith helmet. That's incredible.
Oh yeah, yeah. Another one that I really like, and the main reason why I like it, and this is my friend Mike's game. He made this,
Ooh,
Argonauts Odyssey. So if you like,
nice.
and I'll link it down below. This is in no way a sales pitch, but I'll link it down below. You can play godly heroes, demigods, satyrs,
Nice.
you name it. And so if you like Clash of the Titans, this is a good one. But this,
Sweet.
I thought I was reaching for a different game when I pulled this out.
That's awesome though. I've tried so many times to get my players to do like a Bronze Age Greco-Roman kind of D&D campaign, and every time like, nah, let's do something else. Like,
Argonauts Odyssey is simple. It got simple mechanics to it and easy to pick up on. Here's probably my I'm going to unplug this. This is probably my second favorite role-playing game of all time. And it's this specific edition, which is their first edition. But Deadlands.
Oh.
It's a weird Western game system, and it's it's the only game system that I went crazy with and bought just tons and tons of books after D&D. So
nice.
Yeah, this is this Brahm painting here was the inspiration for the guys that created this game, solely based on this image. In this edition, you play with poker chips for like if you want to like attempt to do something, you throw in your poker chips. There's to cast spells and stuff. You have to kind of learn how to play cards a little bit. When you do like countdowns, like when you do an initiative orders, like you dole out like what you get like a handful of cards, and then you just go highest to lowest. The GM or the marshal just calls out, ace, king, queen, and you can go. And if you have like an ace, you can slap that sucker in there, because it's the ace up your sleeve to go ahead of everybody if you want to. It's so much fun. But yeah, the Savage World people have it now, and I have no interest in playing that because it strips away everything I liked about that.
That's unfortunate. Now, did you ever play any of the the official like Middle Earth role playing, Lord of the Rings role playing games?
My buddy Mark, who's one of my co-hosts on Return of the Son of the Show, he had the box set, and I think he found it at like a garage sale or something. And we just dabbled in it. At that point in time, I was about your age, so I wanted Conan and Kull and Elric. I didn't want, hobbits.
Gotcha.
So I couldn't quite get into it. But he said it had an interesting rule set though, because I guess it was one of the ones that used difficulty challenges or something like that, which now of course I love that concept. That's how I run an entire game. It's just off of difficulty challenges.
Gotcha.
But no, I never did.
There was and this was still when I was playing 5e, there was I can't even remember what they called it. I want to just say they called it like Adventures in Middle Earth, because it was an officially branded 5e Dungeons and Dragons spin-off with Lord of the Rings, and it didn't last long. Like, I think the company that printed the books went under fairly quickly, and like all their stuff just became like free PDFs that people were passing around. And my buddy sent me, the same friend of mine who got me into D&D, sent me a link to all those PDFs, and I played like a couple games of it with my dad. Actually, my dad and my brother-in-law, we got into D&D for a while together. And so there were a couple Saturday nights where we were playing Lord of the Rings D&D essentially. And it was fun, but like the fact that that Lord of the Rings is such like a low magic kind of setting. Yeah. And the fact that like in role-playing games, you genuinely want there to be like a variety in the different characters you can pick, and you can't be a magic user at all. There's no wizard class in Lord of the Rings because there's only like 5 wizards in all of Lord of the Rings, and you can't play any of them. So it was a very like odd kind of, because they'd be like, okay, well, what character can I make? Can I be an elf? And it was like, yeah, but you're not too different from the humans except for the fact that, like, you know, you live forever. Well, can I be a hobbit? Yeah, you're not too different from the humans except for the fact that, you know, you're a little shorter. Okay, well, what do the humans do? And I'm like, well, there's like 5 or 6 different kinds of humans, and again, they're all kind of the same. So it was, I don't know if they thought it out very well, but it just did not translate to the 5e kind of system very well. Yeah,
that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like a no-brainer, you know, but they I guess I mean, I don't know. Having never played the original, you know, Hobbit game, I don't know, or, you know, I don't know how that was to play either. So maybe it was similar, but that's probably why it didn't appeal to me. You know, I want to cast spells. You know,
that's the thing, and I do love that little bit of history with D&D where Gary Gygax. Not that he like, I don't even think it was ever said that he straight up hated Lord of the Rings, but like that was just not the kind of fantasy that he had in mind. Yeah. And so, like, when all his friends are like, no, Lord of the Rings is the best, you got to put Lord of the Rings stuff in this game you're coming up with. And I love how he just kind of begrudgingly was like, okay, you can play a wizard, I guess, but you're really freaking weak. You have, like, no spells at the beginning, and you can't carry weapons.
Yeah. So. But I am going to borrow the idea of a dungeon crawl. Because, you know, that first book, you know, that's a dungeon crawl in there, and it's a wilderness campaign.
Oh my
so
gosh.
I'm going to borrow that stuff, but I'm not going to borrow, you know, I'm not going to make my wizards worth just,
Exactly. And did you ever read Paul Anderson's 3 Hearts and 3 Lions?
No, I didn't you make a video about it?
I did a long time ago. This was like 2 years ago when I first started my channel.
I've been watching you for a while, so
that book is, I'm gonna say that, like, I don't know if like he ever admitted this himself. I'm gonna say that most of the ideas for D&D came from 3 Hearts and 3 Lions, because that book has it's like the kitchen sink of fantasy. Okay. Like every single thing from like high fantasy and sword and sorcery and mythology is just mashed into that 180-page novel, and Paul Anderson makes it work, weirdly enough. And so, like, I remember reading it for the first time several years ago and being like, this is just D&D the novel, like even more so than Lord of the Rings.
Wow. I have to look for that. I've heard a lot about it. I just haven't found a copy of it yet.
It's fun. It's and like I said, it's 180 pages, so you can knock it out in like a single afternoon if you read it fast enough. It's great. There are so many. There are also so many books that like I picked up purely because of like the Appendix N of the various editions, editions D&D. Was there any
on the Dying Earth stuff?
Yeah, so I want to read Dying Earth so bad, and if I wanted, I could have every single book in the series like that, because I could order that stupid that paperback copy on Amazon where it has like the dumb spaceship cover, but I refuse.
It has nothing to do with the book.
I hate it so much.
Plural. But yeah, I got this is my oldest. This is I have the first Dying Earth, which is essentially, I mean, you could call it a fix-up, but it's really not. It's just a group of short stories. So I have the Dying Earth, which is great. I love that. That cover is nuts. I got Dying Earth. Let's see what I hear. The Eyes of the Overworld.
Yeah.
Which this is the sequel to the Dying Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've got Kugel Saga and Rialto the Marvelous. And yeah, man, don't buy that stupid book.
By the time this video comes out, I'll probably be at Pulp Fest, and I told all my friends, I'm like, when I'm walking around the sales floor, if you guys see a halfway affordable copy of Dying Earth, come get me immediately because I need this book. And it doesn't make it any better that Chris from Liminal Spaces reviewed it like a couple months ago, and he's like, "This is one of the coolest books I've ever read." I'm like, "Thank you, Chris. Thank you so much, buddy. I really, but I know that like the whole like what they call the Vancian magic system, that's all from Dying Earth. So
absolutely, because one of the wizards goes on this quest, and he prepares his spells that I'm probably going to need this, I'm probably going to need that. So he puts all these spells together, and he basically takes them with him, and then releases them, when he needs them. And there's even like the one spell that like was it like Big B's magical hut or whatever it is, which is just like it's just like parallel world that you can like live in free from from everybody else. It's straight. He totally borrowed that from that book.
Nice.
Yeah, it's great. Those are really good books. I like them. And it has a cool twist that, I mean, nowadays the twist would seem like, passe, like, oh, everybody's doing this. But he did it back when everybody wasn't doing it. Like, if you've read Sword of Shannara, you kind of, or however you want to say it, if you read any of those books, it's the same twist. But I think this is cooler. I like my sword, but the Jack Vance books are great. Yeah,
he's such an interesting kind of writer, because from what little of him I've read, when he does science fiction and fantasy, he's one of those authors where he blends the two genres in a way where it's so hard to like separate them. Like you can't 100% say this is definitely fantasy or this is definitely science fiction. The only two books of his I've read so far were The Dragon Masters and The Last Castle, and both of them are like these weird stories that take place in some distant future on another planet. But there's like this weird, like in Dragon Masters, it's like this weird alchemical process that they use to breed these dragon monsters. And so it's still like medieval weaponry and siege weapons and stuff. And then in Last Castle, everyone's living in this giant city that's been built into this, automated castle that's being besieged by monsters and stuff. And so it's such this like seamless blend of fantasy and sci-fi. And so I want to read more of his stuff so bad, but it's like, and I have a bunch more of his books. I have a couple of his whatever his Sword and Planet series was, like a Planet of Adventure or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
I have some of those, but I really need to get to Dying Earth. I feel like if I'm going to read any more Jack Vance, I need to get to Dying Earth first, because that's the big one. So.
Yeah, they're all a lot of fun. All four of them are a lot of fun.
I bet. Yeah. Were there any other books that like you read purely because you read the Appendix N?
Well, not for D&D, but I was playing this. I would have to look at the Appendix N list, but I was playing this maybe it was Mercenary Spies and Private Eyes, and I think they had an Appendix N, and I come across the title of Dogs of War, and I managed to find a copy of it at one of the because we had a lot of used bookstores back in the day, like everywhere. They were like they were like mushrooms. They were popping up everywhere, and I found Dogs of War. I found a paperback copy of that and read that thing. But as far as the Appendix N fantasy, what was that? That's in the Monster or the DM's Guide, right?
Yes.
Okay. Inspirational reading.
Yes.
Yeah, the Appendix N. There's the Paul Anderson stuff. I haven't. There is one, and I want to do I'm gonna do a 3-way video with Steve and Mark. But this is a book here. This book here, whenever I found it, I'd buy it because I would give it to people. The Face in the Frost by John Belair.
Nice.
Oh my God. After I read this, I made an entire campaign of all you played was wizards. It's so but Bellairs wrote kids books, The House with a Clock on Its Walls and stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that. As my co-host is yelling, they're not just kid books. But then he wrote this. He wrote this before he wrote any of those other books. But those other books caught on, so this one didn't quite catch on. But he wrote like half of a sequel to it. But man, this book is so atmospheric. It's quirky. It's a horror novel. Like I wanna do it in. If I can wait till winter, I want to do it in our Dead of Winter segment.
Cool.
that Steve and I do, because there's it's the Face and the Frost. There's there's scary winter stuff in it.
I have a copy.
Oh my God.
It's been on my list forever. I have a copy on my bookshelf somewhere. I want to read it. It's just one of those books where it's like, as soon as I have the time to read it, I'm like, oh hey, look, another Solomon Kane collection that I haven't got to yet. Oh hey, look, another Elric book.
Well, it's so short though. You could read it in an afternoon.
Yeah,
you know.
I know. I just need to knock it out and see what it's all about.
Yeah, and they just list Lee Brackett.
Just
anyway,
Lee Brackett.
Yeah. Yes.
Which, to be fair, she's awesome. So.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And of course, the infamous Lynn Carter and Els Camp.
Of course.
Your favorite August Derleth. There's some of his stuff I genuinely enjoy, and I understand why you don't.
I've heard his totally original stuff is good, but those Lovecraft pastiches, it's just like, dude, are you serious?
Yeah. And you can always tell. It'll be like, oh, this story was written by Lovecraft, and then somebody starts talking, you're like, no, it wasn't. When there's actual dialogue.
There aren't nearly enough words in this sentence.
And then, right. Then there's this guy, Robert E. Howard. I've read a little bit of him.
Huh. It sounds familiar, yeah.
Yeah. There's Andre Norton. There's so much. Yeah. A lot of this I have read. And this guy called J.R.R. Tolkien.
Huh.
Which, one of these days, and Jack Vance, I would love to talk about The Hobbit at length, because I love that book, dude. It's dude. I get so defensive when people are like, it's a kid's book. Yeah, sure, it's a kid's book the same way John Bellairs' Face in the Frost is a kid's book.
Exactly.
Like, kids can read it, but that doesn't mean it's a kid's book.
It's a kid's book on steroids. I mean, come on.
Yes.
By the way, thank you again for introducing me to this, because I'm so glad this exists.
Oh man, it's a game changer.
It is. And, I mean, look, it's got the this is the trolls. I love the trolls.
Yep. And when you look at when you look at the work for the art from that, when you see like people's hands and stuff, you're like, oh, that obviously Walt Simonson did that, because there's so many people that worked on that thing. It's amazing.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
The Hobbit is a book where it's just like, it's a book that gets better every time I read it. And like, as a kid, I'm like, oh yeah, it's one of my favorite books. But as an adult, I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize just how good this was.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Like, I read it a couple months ago for the read along that I'm doing with Chris and Virgil. And all three of us were like, this thing blows so many other fantasy novels out of the water.
Yeah. There was a great, I saw a review for the first, speaking of The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, there was a great review I saw of the first of the Shannara books, where it said something like, if you read one Lord of the Rings ripoff book this year, read Sword of Shannara. But yeah, it blows. Yeah, Hobbit blows the doors off of so much. Do you ever read? Maybe I mentioned it to you. I don't know if you talked about it, but have you ever read any David Gemmell?
I've read Legend. That's the only book of his that I've read so far. But I love it.
Oh
I
man,
love that book.
Legend has a great flip to it. Because it's Battle of Helm's Deep, but then a lot more.
Oh yeah.
But and that was like his first published novel. I'm like, what the hell, man?
How do you come out of the gate with that? That's incredible.
Yeah. But he wrote one. One of the things I liked about Gemmell was not everything he wrote was like the world is in danger. The world's going to come to an end.
Yeah.
And there was one, sometimes it's kingdoms,
Uh-huh.
There's this one called Winter Warriors. It's probably my favorite. And it's these 3 old warriors who are all broke down, and they have to escort this like these 2 kids like through this forest, and it's so good. And it's just a standalone. It's like, yep, there they are,
Nice.
So you don't have to like read every single book in the series. Like Gemmell did a lot of he had worlds, but you didn't have to read every book in that world to get that story. He did one. The first book I ever read by him was called The Ghost King. And I got to the end of it, and I'm like, it's King Arthur. He just totally, he used different, he used the names that people called people from other countries and stuff. But I'm like, this is King Arthur.
Nice.
It was really good. Yeah, Gemmell's great. You can get any, you can get a hold of any more of his stuff.
I have I have Legend, and I have like the next 4 books I think that came out after that. But yeah, I want to collect them all because
there's a couple prequels if I remember right.
When Russ is actually like the main character and stuff.
Yeah. But that axe, man.
That freaking axe.
That axe is like the 3-bladed sword, but cooler.
It is. It's so cool. What I really love about that book is that it's barely a fantasy novel. Like it's mostly just like a military story, and there's like the little bits with like the monks that have like, what is it, like empathy abilities, and they can like see into people's dreams and minds and stuff. And that's like the only supernatural elements in it at all. And the rest of it, like you said, is just Battle of Helm's Deep. It's just these people defending their fortress from this army that's about to come down on top of them.
And the switch, because he's, for those of you that haven't read it, and I won't ruin it because it's a fabulous book, but Druss doesn't want to die old. He's falling apart. Well, he gets basically an offer that if he goes off and he does this, works on his campaign, he won't die old. But the way the title Legend, flips like halfway through the book. You start to realize, oh, I see what he's doing here. Because there's other stuff going on that's just, and I don't remember if Legend has the Stones of Power in it or not. But that was like his magic system. They had these stones that came out of the earth, that had like magical energy in them, and that's what you used for your wizard powers and stuff. Which I completely ripped off and used in a campaign because it was kind of cool.
Nice.
So,
nice. Yeah. Need to read more David Gemmell. Definitely need to read more Jack Vance. What was the other like bigger fantasy author that like I haven't? I've only kind of touched on some of Gene Wolfe's stuff because I've only read Shadow of the Torturer. I wasn't the biggest fan of it, even though everyone was telling me, dude, you just have to read the whole series. It's so good. And I want to try out some of his other stuff because I know he has that book, and it's like that 2-book series, Wizard Knight, that's supposedly really good. That's been on my list.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Have you ever read David Eddings?
No, I think the funny thing is, so a couple years ago, when Jake from Pulp Mortem had that massive book collection that he basically inherited from some older guy who passed away in his neighborhood.
Yeah.
He was like, hey, Tim, most of this stuff is fantasy, and I'm not really into that. Can I just send most of it to you? And I was like, oh, heck yeah. And a lot of it were David Eddings novels. So I think I have, where is it? Is it on the shelf? Yes, I have. I'm not going to reach it because it's all the way over there. But I have I think I have most of the Belgariad by David Eddings. And I just haven't touched it yet because as soon as I was interested in reading it, I uncovered all those stories about how he had some like weird stuff going on with his adopted kids and stuff. And there was And that kind of turned me off to it. But it's always been like in the periphery. I've always wondered if those still hold up because people tell me it's like your kind of typical epic fantasy chosen one
Yeah.
hero going on an adventure kind of thing.
Yeah, I read some back in the 90s before all that, but I was just trying to come up with some names. But the funny thing is, like, I read the first one. It was so, like, I don't, again, it's, it's a Tolkien ripoff.
Uh-huh.
I don't, in this case, it's a serf. It's a young boy.
Okay.
And I'm like, but it was very, like, the prose is very kind of too flowery for me. And somebody described David Gemmell as if you took the floweriness of Eddings and Robert E. Howard's grit and married them together, you would have David Gemmell. And whoever said that wasn't wrong. But if you read one, you've read them all. So
okay,
yeah.
And the thing is, especially when it comes to like epic fantasy, like 80s onward, there's so much of it, like just so much of it. And like so even nowadays, we have like these, like you go to the fantasy section at like Barnes and Noble, and it's just like it's wall to wall, like door stopper tomes of epic fantasy novels, and it's just like, oh, I can't commit that much time. I can't commit that much time to one book in a massive series. Like just give me the little tiny sword and sorcery.
Yep.
180.
Give me a nice little 3-act structure, and give me some blood and guts and some adventure and some risk and some pretty cool moments, and that's all I want. I don't need, it's like the joke where like you're reading like the epic fantasy novel, and it's like, we were on our way to Schmimmerhorn, and then we moved through the Schmiggerbuga forest, and it's like, who the hell cares?
There's too many proper nouns in this sentence.
Yes, and so many characters I have to remember.
Yeah.
No, just give me a handful of characters, and I'm good.
And there you go.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, I mentioned before we even started recording, I'm going to find an organic way to introduce this. Anyone watching, you freaking need to read We Are All Legends by Daryl Schweitzer. So I'm going to be doing a review of this probably on my channel at some point, but this book was incredible. It's a collection of like sword and sorcery short stories that Schweitzer wrote throughout the 70s that were collected in this book in the 80s. And it is a super trippy, otherworldly series of events about this one guy named Sir Julian, who is this, much like Sword and the Sorcerer, it takes place in like this weird nebulous time in history where it's like we get references to France and England and the Crusades going on in the Middle East, but it's never explicitly stated where this guy's from, where he has his adventures. It's just this nebulous historical moment in history. And he is a knight who, through a series of events, is cursed by the devil, loses all of his land and possessions, becomes a mercenary, and then loses his faith in God. And because he loses his faith in God, he ends up going on this series of quests that kind of like break him down and make him rethink what the world is.
Yeah.
It's so like weirdly introspective, but it works because it's so fast paced. It has that quick, snappy sword and sorcery pace to it, but it's deep in a weird way, and I absolutely loved it. So anyone who loves like old school quick reads in the fantasy genre, you got to check out We Are All Legends. Highly recommend.
Is it still in print? Can you still get copies of it?
Yes. So I don't know if it's like still in stores, but I know that it's kind of unfortunate that Daryl Schweitzer is now, for the most part, I believe, he's doing print on demand on Amazon for his own books.
Like everybody else.
Yeah, like everybody else, essentially. It kind of, honestly, from what I've read of his, I think the dude should be, sitting back in a mansion propped up on a giant stack of royalty checks. But, it's...
I'll definitely check them out.
Yeah.
You picked up a copy of Rom.
Yes, I have Rom back there somewhere. I need to read that too. I've
got Rom, and somewhere I've got the sequel to it, which I haven't read that yet. But I got me and Jake did a video about this.
Yeah.
And man, this book, it ain't great, but it's great.
Yeah. Well, that has illustrations by Stephen Fabian, correct?
Yes, they're beautiful.
Stephen Fabian also did the artwork for this book. So.
Oh, nice.
And it's his. For some reason, like I've been finding all kinds of books that have Stephen Fabian's art in it, and it got to the point where I can just like recognize it immediately. And so when I picked this up a couple days ago, I was like, "Oh my gosh, he's in here too!" So,
I think I had a book he did on the Great Hunt poem that he illustrated, and I think it was him, and it was beautiful. Yeah, I got my sequel copy. This is
there we go.
the Skraeling.
Nice.
I haven't read this one yet, but I plan on it. And I guess the third book, because we got to the end of, when I was getting to the end of reading this, I was like, oh crap, I forgot. This is the first part of a series. But I didn't tell him. I was going to let him just finish it himself. But in the third book, I guess you can't get in English. I guess it got printed in Spain or something. And I'm like, well, I always did want to learn Spanish.
There you go. Now, did you ever read any of Charles Saunders' Imaro books?
No, only because I have never found any in the wild.
Well, that's the thing. So, like, I know, again, you can get, like, the first two print on demand from Amazon. That's how I got.
I didn't know.
Yeah, that's how I got book 1. I haven't got to book 2 yet, unfortunately. Books 3 and 4 are virtually impossible to find. Like,
oh man, that sucks.
Like the only copy I ever found online for book 3 was like $800, and I've never found a listing for book 4. So
that's rough. I know he did some self edits later on with the books because there were after the genocide in Rwanda, he changed some of it. And, that's fine. Do it. It's your creation. Do what you want with it. Yeah. I don't like when some authors like update their stuff just because they're afraid it's not going to be relevant. And that's what I love. One of my favorite, and this one can be used for this is a horror book, but it can totally be used for a game campaign, is The Keep.
Okay.
It's a World War II story where there's a vampire in this keep, and the Nazis find it, and wackiness ensues. The movie's I love the movie. The movie took a lot of shit because it was originally Michael Mann made it, and it was 3 hours long, and the producers butchered it down to like an hour and a half.
Oh no!
It does have bright spots like Ian McKellen is in it, and he's young, and then they age him in the movie, and he looks like he does now. So they did a pretty good job with the special effects.
Nice.
But what Wilson did, Wilson would update his books so the technology stayed with the times and stuff. I'm like, don't do that. I don't want modern technology. I understand he's got to put an 8-track in his truck, tape player.
Yeah.
But no, I haven't. The Imaro books, I haven't read it, unfortunately. But now that I know I can at least get some of it on print on demand.
I mean, despite the fact that it does end with kind of a cliffhanger, that first book, Imaro, it's got to be in like the top 5 sword and sorcery books that I've read. It's so good, and it's original because I believe the story behind it was that Charles Saunders watched a bunch of Tarzan movies. He's like, these stories are really cool, but it should be a black guy swinging around in the jungle instead of a white guy. So I'm gonna do my people right, and I'm gonna make a jungle hero who represents it represents what it was really like to be a hero for Africa, essentially. And what he made was like this. He basically does exactly what Robert E. Howard did with the Hyborian Age, where he takes like old esoteric names for countries that were around back then and just uses them for the kingdoms in his book. But he does it with the old like African terminology and like from ancient African languages and stuff. And so he creates this whole world centered on ancient Africa, and it's incredible because it's one of those sword and sorcery worlds that has just enough world building so that it makes things feel fleshed out, but it doesn't get in the way. Like the focus is still purely on that character going on these quests and getting into big fights and killing monsters and stuff. That's purely what it's about. But it feels fleshed out because he took enough time to actually craft this world around the story. It's incredible.
That's awesome. I'm definitely going to pick it up now. I'll just go ahead and order me a copy.
Yeah, it's worth it. I promise.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we can probably wrap this up. We've been jibber jabbering for a while. I really appreciate having a co-host this week. Steve is on vacation, and I can't wait to hear what happens because something always happens.
That's it.
So,
okay.
Yeah, something's always going to happen. You know, he'll lore drop something that's just like, wait, you did what? You know, so like
Nice.
real casual. So it was a lot of fun having you on. I want to have you on again. I was thinking about it. Maybe I'll resurrect my the Doomed Wizard channel, and we could do some episodes, focusing on, going a little more in depth in some of the books we talked about and how we could maybe use them in game campaigns and stuff. We'll talk about that maybe later if you're interested.
Absolutely.
But in the meantime, I'm Paul, and I want to thank Tim again for coming on. Tim from Secret Fire Books. Tim, you have any last regrets?
No last regrets. This was well worth my time, so thank you.
Hey, the pleasure was mine. All right, kids. So the next time you're looking for something to read,
check your shelf.
I heard an interesting interview with Ray Bradbury because her and Bradbury were pals.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes Bradbury would have just like a story that he couldn't finish. He just lost.
Uh-oh. Oh, no. Did we lose Paul? Paul, blink twice if you can understand me. Hold on, buddy. Oh, no. Oh, we lost Paul. Hold on, I'm going to text him. We're still recording. I'm doing this all in real time. Okay. Let me text Paul, see if he's doing okay. Why am I bothering to record all this? Oh, he's texting back. Oh, I'm on pins and needles here. Hang on, he says. You can do it, Paul. I believe in you. You got this, Doomed Wizard. Okay, are we back?
Yeah, I'm on my laptop, and every once in a while, my laptop is like, "What's the internet?"
Oh, no.